Hello everyone. Computer is thinking. Is it gonna go live? And we're on. How is everybody doing with day whatever quarantine we're on based on where you are in the world? My name is Christina Kennedy with Met Realigned, and some of you on here know me as author as well. Just wanted to do a quick check-in, see how everybody is doing. I know some of my clients have been telling me that their depression and anxiety have been a little on peak right now. So we've been working on some tips and tools for that with them on one-on-one sessions. But I just kind of wanted to go back to the age-old question today of who are you, as the caterpillar says on Alice in Wonderland. I remember back in an old lit class I had, the teacher asked us for a creative writing experiment to define ourselves, to describe who we were without using any labels. We couldn't use any labels as far as mom, doctor, bartender, whatever. No labels. I was like, shit, how do I do that? I don't even know. It was one of the hardest assignments I'd ever had to do because I couldn't answer the question. I could only think of things that people told me I was, but I couldn't think of who I was from my own personal perception. So it was an exercise that really took me beyond what others told me about myself. You know, for instance, when I was little, everybody used to tell me I was a mother hen. Christina, stop being a mother hen. You're a mother hen. And I took that on as an identity, right? I took that on as who I was as a person. And when the truth was, I was a compassionate kid in survivalist circumstances because of my shitty upbringing. So it forced me to become a mother hen. But that wasn't who I was. That was me becoming what I desperately needed in a time, space, and dimension that wasn't giving me what I needed as a child. So really taking time to, in this time, right, we're quarantined, we have to be alone with ourselves, and learning to take that time to go inwards and say, who am I? What do people tell me about myself? Is that true? Am I this? Am I that? I don't know. So how do we take this time to go inwards? What are some quick tips and tools to really do a check-in? Say, does who I think I am match who I really am or who I really feel I am meant to be? It took me years to get to a point to be able to answer that question. It took me years. And it's only really till recently that I can stand up and say specific things about myself that I know to be true, to be part of my I am statement of this is who I am as a person, good and bad, and I accept it and I love it. So just like I know I'm compassionate, I'm not a mother. Can I be a mother hen? Yes. Is that part of my identity? No. Am I compassionate? Yes. Am I also sometimes like a bull in a china shop? Yes, but more like Ferdinand, right? Because I've got a good heart. Anyways, okay, so how do we go inward? Quick tips and tools. I like to keep it quick and simple because this stuff can get really deep and it can get long and people are busy and sometimes we just need to just plant the seeds little bit by little bit. And as with anything I talk about on any of my videos, take what resonates and bench the rest. This does not apply to everybody, and that's cool too. All right. First, we get still. We get quiet, and people hate this. I used to hate to meditate. It was too loud. It was too loud in my head. So I began to practice something called the art of stillness first. And I would do it while walking the dog. Oh, sorry. I would do it while walking the dog to get still, to go inside. If we can't get still with ourselves and be with ourselves because the silence is scary, then we're going to have a really hard time manifesting our authentic life, really seeing who we are as a person. It's going to be too hard if we can't get still and quiet with ourselves. The quiet screams the truth, good and bad. It's really a hard practice to get into. It's uncomfortable, but there's a piece there. Once you start to practice, just try for 5 minutes. Just think of a blank screen, right? or go for a walk. And every time your brain starts to chatter on about everything else, bring it back to center and think of a blank screen. And think of the trees, and look at the birds, and look at the sun. And then your mind starts to wander and chatter, and get back to center. And just get still and quiet. No music, no earbuds, nothing. Just get present in the moment and get still. 5 minutes a day, then maybe 10. It's a little hard sometimes, but you can do it. So once we begin to do that, step 2, we begin to see ourselves. We begin to see that the monster under the bed isn't really a monster. It's a teddy bear with maybe some scars and stuffing sticking out and ripped stitches, right? Because our lessons can sometimes be a little bit rough, right? But that's okay. But it becomes manageable. We start to see that we're manageable, that the monsters under the bed are really just teddy bears that have really been loved on well, but it's manageable. Okay, I can do this. It's not so bad. Good and bad, it's not so bad. And then we can be able to mentally separate who we are, the set idea of who we think we are, from who we really are, and see the differences between who we are and who we want to be, right? And have fun with it. Start to maybe take a personality test, or strengthfinder.com has a test too, and see what your strengths are. And maybe it's validating, maybe it tells you things you already knew about yourself, maybe you discover something new, but it's just a creative way to approach yourself with excitement and saying, okay, the monsters under the bed were really teddy bears. I'm not so bad as I thought I was. I've done some fucked up things, done some good things. But this can be fun. Self-discovery can be fun. And look, these are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. What are you good at? Ups, downs, trials, tribulations. Develop a balance of trying new things and knowing what you're good at and knowing what you're passionate about and knowing when to stop, right? Sometimes we give up too easy. So nobody can tell you what the right balance of time investment is for that, right? But give it a good shot. If something isn't working for you, walk away without beating yourself up. Give it a good amount of time. But only you get to determine what that time limit is. Nobody can tell you that. But then don't beat yourself up about it. If it's not working for you, then that's okay too. Walk away. And how do we know the difference? How do we know the difference between, did I give it enough time to try something new? Is this working for me, or is this not? Or do I need to let it go? Does this no longer serve my purpose? Is this not something that really resonates with me in my life anymore? Well, does it put a drain on you and becoming more trouble than what it's worth? Or do you still have some passion for it? Does it still drive you? Does it still make you excited, even on some small level? Maybe you just need a break, but that passion is still there. So that's a self mechanism that you're going to have to develop, and only you can tell you what that looks like. All right, step 4. What are you passionate about? What do you love? What gets your motor going? Don't know? Well, start with a list. I love taking people down the list of their childhood passions, good and bad. What did you like? What did you love? What did you hate as a kid? And that might be a breadcrumb into something better. It may not look the same now in your adult life, but it can at least give you a breadcrumb down another trail. Number 5, ask for constructive feedback from those you trust, not just any Joe Schmo on the street, but people that you really value and respect their opinion, and will be honest with you, and not project their own shit on you or give you a shitty answer based on their own twisted perceptions, but somebody who can just be honest with you, right? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What needs some work? I know till the day I die, I will be having to work on my patience, right? That's just something I'm always going to have to work on. But I always ask people around me, especially at the end of each client session, do you have any constructive feedback for me? How can I grow and get better if people don't lovingly and kindly, and sometimes not so kindly, and that's okay too, I don't take it personally, give me some feedback so that I can keep growing and develop. Number 6, assess your relationships. This is the biggest one sometimes for some people, not everybody, but. So there's a saying, we attract that in which we are, or where we are in our personal development. And our relationships, intimate, friendships, whatever, work relationships are our biggest mirrors. They reflect back to us how we're showing up, what we could do better, what we're doing right. Sometimes we can take these relationships, intimate relationships too. Sometimes that's a better learning platform for some people. Sit down and make a list. What did I do well in this relationship? What did I really fuck up at in this relationship? Am I okay with these things? And what am I doing? What does the other person do that upsets me, right? Because if they're triggering you emotionally on something, then that's something that applies internally and you need to look at. Well, don't need to do, but it's highly recommended that you look at. And sometimes people do things that piss us off because we, on some low level, do the same thing. So just taking a look internally at those little bits and pieces. Doing relationship work and deconstructing old past relationships that went well and didn't go so well, and really having an honest look at those little bits and pieces help us discover a treasure trove of information about who we are, and who we're showing up as. And then you can say, do I want to change that? I didn't like that. That doesn't work for me anymore. Or I did that well. I can give myself a pat on the back because that is one thing I do well. And that's, once again, another breadcrumb down the path of truly discovering who you are. Doing relationship work, that was one of my biggest teachers. I really saw myself, for the people pleaser that I was, doing things for other people that I thought that they wanted, that I thought would make them love me more. I had a really bad habit of that when I was younger, trying to be what I thought that they needed. I would cross my own boundaries over and over and over, which breaks my own inner trust with myself. And I remember the first time I started saying no. I'm like, no. And my partner at the time was like, what do you mean no? You used to like this. You used to like to do this. I'm like, no. I said I did because I thought that's what you wanted, and I'm sorry, that's my fault, and I really fucking hate this, and I don't want to do it anymore. And I remember the first time I said that, it was the most liberating experience. I was like, ooh, the power of my no. I want to do that more. And then I went a little crazy with it for a minute, but then I reeled it back in. I found my balance, found my happy place. But it's about progress, not perfection, right? We are flawed creatures. We all have our shit. Nobody is perfect. And I think that's what makes us beautiful. Not to sound corny, but our flaws and those unique pieces of us, are good and bad, make us who we are. I've had a hard childhood. I've done things in relationships I'm not proud of. But those were learning experiences, and they were lessons, and they're not who I am. I am not my past. I am not my mistakes. I am not people's perception of me. People's perception of me is not my responsibility. That's their stuff. That's them. But who I am is beautiful. I am a bull in a china shop sometimes. I can be a little bit chaotic and creative. I am very compassionate, loving individual. I love people. I love helping people. I love seeing people blossom into their fullest potential. It's one of the greatest gifts I've had in my life, is the honor of working with people. I am a holy woman. I am a high priestess. Those are roles that I take so it's a role, but I also identify with it. It is part of who I am. It's part of my purpose, why I was sent here in this lifetime. And that is my belief system. And it gives me great peace to be in alignment and accept it. Those were roles that I had a hard time accepting. I went through my own transformation process where I beat my head on the wall and fought with my elders and fought with those guiding me and showing up for me, because I had to do a lot of inner work to bring healing to the aspects of me that were out of balance, that didn't want to accept who I was. And when I finally learned how to do that, it was absolute liberation. I can stand tall, I can stand proud and say who I am, good and bad, and love every little bit of it. And you know what's cool is we grow and we change. And so our I am statements change over time, they evolve. And that's liberating as well, because who you are right now may not be who you're going to be in 10 years, but it's all beautiful. It's all part of the process. All right, everybody, I'm going to go get to homeschooling. Love this shit. I do mean that. It's a little frustrating, but I do love it. And I hope you're having a great day and finding at least one small thing to smile about. All right, bye.